Hello and welcome to the Whizzbang Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Goodall. On this podcast, we're going to be talking to musicians, people I know personally, people in the music business, music managers, suits you could call them, but I'm not going to call this first guest a suit. He's more like a jacket that you'd want to wear every day. He's a music manager. He's CEO of WhizzbangBAM Management and booking and management. He's a festival promoter, a musician in his own right. Please welcome to the podcast, Ian Thornton.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Tell me how you got started, man. What was the impetus? Go back for me a little bit.
So it started out playing guitar in high school. I think
Of course.
the first guitar, right?
Right.
Getting into guitar class.
Right.
And eventually finding myself playing in bands around town younger. Then I started kind of having to be book the band and everything.
Double duty. So you're playing in the band, and then somehow your natural initiative, people could just tell that you were going to be the guy who books the shows.
Yeah, well, instead of playing just practice in the back of my mom's insurance agency, we decided we should probably take it on the road, which was like down the street or wherever would take us at the time.
Right. That's still down the road, though.
Yeah, it's still down the road. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what was the name of the band, the high school band?
The Love Coats was the first band.
Love Coats.
Yeah, we were actually doing something. We had a couple records we made.
Right.
And that's when we started doing some West Virginia shows, like getting out a little bit in Morgantown and things of that nature. So
Miniature touring. The
touring.
3-hour bubble like you always talk about.
Oh, yeah. Usually just within the state.
Right.
A lot of Charleston shows.
Right.
And they went really well. And then after college, we opened a bar with my brother. And originally it was like 5 of us. My cousin was in, and my brother and his wife. And that was Shamrock's Pub across from the stadium here.
Of course.
And that's when I really started getting into the organizational side of it, the other side.
Right.
Putting shows together, had to hit. At the time, too, it was really fun. I was making this joke that, most places the band's like driving a bar crazy to play. But we were new, and I didn't know a whole lot of other bands. So I had to, hit up people to come play the bar. Like, hey, you need a show? Like, I don't know what we can give you.
We'll take anybody.
Yeah, we'll take anybody.
Do you have an instrument?
Yeah. And that really started it in the fun sense of putting shows together and meeting other bands and seeing how that part works. And
I want to linger on Shamrocks for a little bit because as far as the Huntington scene, the Huntington, West Virginia music scene was concerned at that time when you started hanging out and doing work with that club, that was kind of when a bunch of people assimilated for the first time that I remember. Mm-hmm. Guys that I'm in bands with now and guys that I'm sure you still work with, obviously.
Yeah.
So you were always like a little bit of like a magnet for this kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I had to, not say I didn't have to work at it, but there was something that I just really enjoyed doing it. And then the more I was doing it, I got really into our local music scene, our West Virginia music scene.
Right.
And that's where I was discovering Billy Matheny, William Matheny.
Right.
Up in Morgantown, the Fox Hunt, Dinosaur Burps, at the time, Rabble Rousers from Charleston.
Lady Bird at that time?
Lady Bird, yeah. Universes, all these things were happening, and, I just really got into the local music scene, and that's when, HMAF was born, the Huntington Music and Arts Festival was born that next year in 2010.
Wow, okay, that's old.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we just did the 10 year. You just had your 10 year.
Just had the 10 year,
right,
yeah.
Of course.
We had to skip the COVID year, but the one before that, 19 was the 10th year.
Right.
Because 0 counts.
Right. There's a little asterisk on your 10-year reunion, but that's okay. Yeah. It's all good.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of where it all started, and then I just got really into that side of the business, and I was still playing too at that point, but I just thought it was a lot of fun.
Right.
And then went on. No longer worked at Shamrocks after a minute.
Okay.
And then so I kept on, went over to Black Sheep, and I would book shows there and kind of stayed in it as much as possible.
Booked me there more than once.
Yeah.
I had a nice little residency there for a little while.
Used to do his Thursdays.
So some more context. This man is responsible for some of my earliest gigs. And the Shamrocks was also like a hub on Sunday nights, had very loose jam sessions. Mm-hmm. So those were some of my first musical experiences as far as being on stage. You'd pick 2 chords and people would just play for 12 minutes.
Yeah, Deadbeats. That was the Deadbeats night.
Right, which now became Tyler Childers' rhythm section.
Yeah, what became the Food Stamps.
Right, so that is an interesting little timeline as far as that goes. When did you feel that you really transitioned into I'm helping bands get work to the point where it was like, all right, I'm a manager now. I'm going to do this full time, full tilt, start my own company, all that stuff.
That was when I started working with Tyler.
Right.
So Tyler started coming into town, playing up at Mike Nights when he was like 18, 19, around then, and played the V Club open mic every Wednesday.
Right.
And everybody was just like, who is this kid coming in with his, he had, that time he was always wearing his suit and the bow tie, clean shaven, high and tight.
Right.
And just killing it. And he had Balls and Bobbles out already at that time. And
right.
We started becoming friends, obviously. I had, started booking his residency over here at Black Sheep too. Same one you did.
Same spot.
He did like the first or second Thursday of the month for like 6 months or something. And
okay.
I think it all ended up starting like, I think he stayed at my house after one of those.
Yeah.
And there were, we'll just like holes in the things like he wasn't really enjoying the booking side of it. He would go play a show in Lexington, then drive to Atlanta, and then go to Louisville or something.
Yeah, probably before the time when you actually have the idea of like, I could route this in a succinct, efficient way and make my touring a lot easier and all that kind of stuff. Artists, I hate to tell you this, don't really like booking their own shows. I think you know that already. It's it's a whole different job. That's the reason you come in and I'm assuming, let's say, if you found a brand new artist, first thing, what's the first couple of things you're going to try to do for them?
So now, then with Tyler,
right.
I had no clue what I was doing. It was really those first few years, man. It was all like just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, and then late nights sending emails after email after email. I was using I think it was Indie on the Move, so I go find I
remember that site.
There's 25 bars in Richmond, Virginia. So
right.
You just write a letter or an email to each one of them.
No Googling them to see if they even have like a decent PA or anything either.
No. Some of them, Indie on the Move was cool because it would have little details about what they typically booked or something. So
okay, that's good.
Is, kind of metal themed bar.
Right.
So wouldn't really go after that one.
Not going to work.
No. But then, we were both learning a lot of things together there early on.
Right.
And I just started enjoying it more.
Right.
There was a job there to do, and I just kind of took to it.
Right.
I really enjoyed the logistics of it and the organization of it, and trying to grow things. And again, always thinking about, our scene here and how to get it out.
Right. Right.
And then, Ona was the second band.
Right. Well, let's see. I'm trying to think when you would have been a part of, because I moved away for a little while when Ona was first kind of assimilating and becoming like a real act. I moved away for a while, and when I came back, you guys were already had that relationship going. Mm-hmm. Was that sort of the same kind of thing as you just sort of become friends and it kind of just slides into not only a friendship, but a business relationship? It probably just transitions kind of naturally, right?
Yeah, it's kind of, so PJ Woodard was still in the band.
Right.
And I was in AC30 with PJ. And AC30 had kind of I think we were broken up by this point. And PJ was playing keys with Ona.
Sure.
And I was just working with Tyler, again, still learning the ropes and things. And I think PJ hit me up like, hey, you should manage us too.
Yeah, you kind of just got assigned that job, kind of like I got assigned this podcast hosting job. Okay. People just say, hey, you want to do something? You go, oh, sure, I'll do it. Why not? That's a great way to get yourself out of your own comfort zone and just learn something brand new like that.
And I knew Bradley, and I knew Zoens.
Of course, from the Shamrock days, honestly, because Zach Owens, lead guitar player of Ona, and Zach Jeter Johnston, the bass player of Ona, both had a band back then called Pillow Talk. And they had like a bang out show at Shamrocks. I remember it was like the first time I went, I was 18, and I went to this show in this dark club. Kind of drippy, a little bit, a little bit weird vibe in there. No sliding in the club or anything.
No, dude, that's the best one.
But it was like, okay, this place is packed. This is awesome. Like, that was definitely one of those moments where I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a part of this little thing, whatever this is. Like, I like this music thing. It kind of just, it either clicks or it doesn't. Right. It sounds like it clicked with you, obviously. Without even I don't think you're even overthinking it. It's just one of those things.
No, I had no idea that, I was still a day job, still doing some other things outside.
Right.
So the management thing was something, again, was a learning experience. It was something I would do in the evenings, typically.
Right.
So you get off work, do your thing, and then at nighttime, when you get settled, like 8 p.m. was when that shift started, and then it was just like scouring the internet, doing whatever.
You ever hit like any kind of like high record mark for emails sent in a day?
Oh, I didn't track them, but I'm sure, you know.
You probably hit 150. In a day.
Easy.
150 in a day?
Back then especially, because each
Yeah.
city I was having to hit up like anywhere from 10 to 30 different places, depending on where it was.
Lord.
Because at first you would like pick your one, like, okay, well, these seem like the best 3.
Right.
So you give them a week to respond. And with that follow-up, you're like, okay, we'll hit every one of them up. Someone might answer. And so you had to like, must call the bar on Tuesday, talk to Cindy, you know? So,
oh, yeah. And then
like
some
make
of them.
calendars to like, okay, call Cindy at 2 p.m.
And some of them don't, at that point, if we're talking about like 8 to 10 years ago, some of them didn't do email booking. You would have to call.
You had to call, yeah.
Imagine that. There's nobody who does that now.
I have not run into it.
Yeah, when was the last time you made a phone call and booked a gig?
I don't even know.
Do people still have phones in their venues that you could call? I don't know. That sounds archaic to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, let's see. If you found somebody brand new, okay, let's say you're at a club in any city, any mid-major city, doesn't matter, and you heard somebody that you thought you had a connection to, like, how do you, because I know you're going to continue to try and grow your business, and I'm sure that there's artists you hear where it's like, I think, especially ones that are smaller that still need the help.
Sure.
Do you ever catch your ear going like, I think I could help that person? Like, I hear something there, and I can tell that they're like kind of alone in their game. You know what I mean? I can tell that they're just getting started, but they have like a little sparkle, whatever that is. Do you come across that kind of stuff?
I do. You know, the thing with Whizzbang is I'm still really tied to what our local regional scene's about.
Yeah.
So all the bands on our roster are either they're in this tri-state area.
They're from down the road.
West Virginia, Eastern Kentucky, or Southern Ohio, for the most part. So obviously my ear's always open and stuff like that. And I think the point of what I want to do is like with HMAF and everything, you know, I don't think we've ever been looked at to be an area of the country that, you know, provides some sort of like excellent music scene, you know.
Right.
So in the beginning, it's like,
right.
West Virginia, you're like, yeah, man, there's really cool shit happening down here.
Right. Usually the microscope on this part of the country is usually slanted towards the negative. A lot of times when you got Netflix specials about, you know, things that have gone on in as far as drugs or whatever, you know, negative community stuff.
Yeah.
But you do have to have those, I guess you could say, an arbiter of positivity in regards to a specific area like that.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to kind of have a shining light on the good things and the positive things we have here. And
right.
There is good work. There are good people.
Right.
And there's killer music.
Right. So okay, so you found you could put Ona in this bracket of a local band that obviously has some ambition and wants to continue and grow and find more fans and release multiple records. What's the next step as far as taking someone from this area that you're so focused on into the national spectrum? How does that work?
So, you know, the more of trial and error of doing things,
Sure.
you start figuring out a little bit of a quicker route,
Right.
know, hopefully.
I think you're developing less error, I would say. It's more just trial and more things are working, I would say.
Yeah. It's about forming a team. So you rely, you know, understand you can't do everything on your own. So it takes like a team for a band. You know, it doesn't take just one thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then hopefully what we can do as managers in Whizzbang, you know, we help provide that direction and help it assimilate the teams. Mm-hmm. And then so you get a really talented booking agent, you know, is one of the things. And if you have a record coming out, then it's how do you prepare
how are you going to promote it?
Yep. How do you prepare this record so when it rolls out, it makes the most impact as possible, it reaches as many ears as possible. And just having that working relationship with everybody and everybody be on the same page.
Right.
I think that's one part of the teamwork thing that sometimes gets overlooked. You know, when I see sometimes is maybe just not connecting the dots with everybody.
Yeah.
So I think it's all about communication, building a team, and doing things together with everybody's main goal of, you know,
blowing up.
Well,
everybody's goal is to just blow up. Let's be honest.
Let's all sell out, right?
The Grammys were just a few days ago. Everybody wants to just blow up.
Yeah.
Well, I know everyone we're talking about, the guys you listed tonight, are certainly appreciative of what you've done. And I know I feel it on a professional level, and Ona feels it, and Tyler feels it, and everybody involved with Whizzbang feels the energy you're putting out there and to promote good music into its destiny of whatever that is, whether it's, you know, we all just want to take it further. And I think I could easily say for everybody, you're helping us do that. So thank you for being thank you for being our guest today on the Whizzbang Pod.
Yeah.
Today, that's Ian Thornton, everybody. Thank you for thank you for coming.
Yes.
I almost said thank you for having me. It's my apartment. It's my podcast. I don't have to do that.
No. Thanks for letting me be here, buddy.